In 1916, during the turmoil of World War I, approximately 100,000 Chinese laborers joined the British war effort in Europe, making substantial contributions to the Allied cause. These workers performed essential tasks such as digging trenches, building docks, laying railway tracks, unloading ships, and repairing tanks, often under harsh and challenging conditions. In 1903, a striking photograph depicted an Indian state executioner dressed in spiked armor, holding a sword and shield, symbolizing the somber responsibilities of his role. Historically, executioners in India occupied a complex societal position, both feared and respected, as they carried out capital punishment through public and often ritualistic acts. On October 27, 1962, amidst the Cuban Missile Crisis, Vasily Arkhipov made a courageous decision that prevented the outbreak of nuclear war. Aboard the Soviet submarine B-59, tensions were at their peak as the crew prepared to launch a nuclear torpedo at a United States warship, under the belief that conflict had already begun. Arkhipov, however, refused to authorize the attack, a decision made under immense pressure that ultimately averted catastrophe. Between 1915 and 1925, a touching photograph captured a King Island Eskimo woman and her child, offering a glimpse into the rich traditions of the Inupiat people of Alaska. On King Island, nestled in the Bering Sea, a small community thrived through hunting, fishing, and gathering, preserving their way of life against the backdrop of the harsh environment. The early 20th century brought profound changes as modern influences and environmental shifts began to alter their traditions. In 1825, Joseph Nicephore Niepce captured the first permanent photograph, a historic achievement that marked the birth of photography. The image, titled View from the Window at Le Gras, was created using a method called heliography, requiring an 8-hour exposure to etch the scene onto a metal plate. At just 16, Hans-Georg Henke, a German anti-aircraft soldier from the Hitler Youth, was captured in Hessen, Germany during the final days of World War II. A member of the Luftwaffe's anti-air squad, he was photographed in tears, overwhelmed by the collapse of his world. Circa 1860, George Armstrong Custer was photographed wearing his West Point uniform, reflecting his early military aspirations and the start of a career that would become both notable and controversial. Graduating at the bottom of his class in 1861, Custer rose to prominence during the American Civil War as a cavalry officer, earning a reputation for his bold tactics and flamboyant personality. In 1944, a haunting image captured a Hindu holy man, or sadhu, walking along Strand Road in Calcutta, wearing a belt of skulls that symbolized his renunciation of the material world and the impermanence of life. Sadhus, deeply rooted in India's spiritual traditions, embrace ascetic practices to seek enlightenment, with such vivid symbols reflecting their devotion. In 1953, Dwight Eisenhower bid farewell to Columbia University, where he had served as president since 1948, before heading to his inauguration as the 34th President of the United States. His time at Columbia was briefly interrupted when he assumed the role of the first Supreme Commander of NATO, demonstrating his leadership in the critical early years of the Cold War. In 1970, Pierre Cardin, a visionary of fashion design, presented his innovative nursing uniforms in Paris, blending practicality with a futuristic aesthetic. Known for his trailblazing creations, Cardin redefined professional attire, viewing it as a means to inspire and modernize. In 1920, Vladimir Lenin stood before a crowd in Moscow, delivering a stirring speech to rally support for the fledgling Soviet state amidst the aftermath of the Russian Civil War. At a time of economic struggles and lingering political dissent, Lenin's words sought to unite a weary nation under the Bolshevik vision of socialism. In the early 1950s, Wimpy the Wombat charmed his way into history as the first of his kind to appear in a video, delighting audiences and celebrating Australia's remarkable wildlife. Sitting contentedly on the lap of his trainer, a professional who supplied animals for TV programs, Wimpy's friendly disposition embodied the era's growing love for exotic creatures in entertainment. In 1929, rivers of confiscated liquor poured from the windows of a three-story storefront in Detroit, creating a striking image of the struggles to enforce prohibition in the United States. This dramatic display stemmed from efforts to crack down on illegal drinking and the widespread speakeasy culture that thrived during the era of the 18th Amendment. In the 1928 silent film The Man Who Laughs, Conrad Veidt delivered a haunting portrayal of Gwynplaine, a man whose grotesque smile and disfigurement would later inspire the chilling look of the Joker in the Batman franchise. Veidt's nuanced performance conveyed the heartbreaking plight of a man forced to endure ridicule and sorrow, leaving an indelible impression on early cinema audiences. Circa 1955, a skilled baker in a Norwegian bakery kitchen carefully decorated a kransekake, a traditional almond cake with miniature Norwegian flags, honoring the country's rich heritage. Frequently served at weddings, national holidays, and other festive occasions, the kransekake is celebrated for its ring-shaped layers and intricate designs, symbolizing unity and celebration. In 1913, a thrilling boxing match between Ray Campbell and Dick Hyland captivated audiences, exemplifying the vibrant boxing scene of the early 20th century. This period saw the rise of professional boxing as a widely popular sport in America, with fighters like Campbell and Hyland earning reputations as local legends. In 1929, the first-class sleeping car on trains embodied the glamour and elegance of luxury travel, offering passengers a unique blend of comfort and style on long journeys. With its plush bedding, tasteful decor, and private compartments, the sleeping car catered to the era's affluent travelers, reflecting the exuberance of the Roaring Twenties. In June 1894, the Willamette River surged beyond its banks, flooding 3rd Street in Portland, Oregon between Washington and Burnside, and transforming the bustling thoroughfare into a dramatic watery expanse. Caused by a combination of intense rainfall and melting snow, the flood left a trail of destruction across the city. In the early 1900s, Henry Ford and celebrated race car driver Barney Oldfield made history when Oldfield became the first to drive a car at 60 miles per hour on a circular track, a groundbreaking moment that occurred around 1902 to 1903. This remarkable feat highlighted the rapid advancements in automotive engineering and the growing excitement for speed and motor racing in America. In 1924, Wembley Stadium hosted a highly anticipated boxing match between Tommy Gibbons and Jack Bloomfield, capturing the attention of sports enthusiasts across the United Kingdom and beyond. In 1903, Cleo de Merode, a celebrated dancer and model, posed with boxing gloves, symbolizing the emergence of a new kind of celebrity that captured the public's imagination. In 1948, amid the turbulent aftermath of World War II and the Korean War, a young Korean girl was disinfected for lice in Incheon after being repatriated from Manchuria. This moment reflects the hardships endured by many Koreans who were displaced during the war and returned to a homeland struggling to rebuild its infrastructure and society. In the 1940s, a Texaco station, general store, and post office were essential landmarks in small-town America, blending practicality with a sense of community. Beyond providing fuel and basic goods, these spots became lively social centers where neighbors could catch up on news, shop for everyday items, and send mail. In 1902, the mysterious disappearance of Nora Fuller from her home in Massachusetts became one of the most intriguing cold cases in American history. Despite relentless searches and investigations, no clear answers were found, leaving her fate shrouded in mystery. Speculation ranged from abduction to tragic accidents, and the case continues to captivate true crime enthusiasts and historians to this day. In 1939, a British Empire recruitment poster featured Diana Williams, a member of the Auxiliary Territorial Service, as a representation of the vital contributions women were making to the military during World War II. Her image was chosen to emphasize the expanding opportunities for women to serve in essential non-combat roles, such as clerical work, driving, and communications, which supported the British Army. In 1906, a group of boys met along the banks of the Hudson River in Yonkers, a site often associated with informal gatherings and recreational activities for youth during the early 20th century. At the time, Yonkers was experiencing significant growth, driven by its proximity to New York City and its role as an industrial hub, producing everything from carpets to sugar. The Hudson River provided an accessible escape from the urbanized environment, allowing children to explore nature and engage in outdoor activities.